Imagine you are in Whitefield and about to start a surgery on a patient which is at Silbur Junction in Bangalore. You log in remotely, the remote surgery platform is helping you in doing that. And once you start and after some time you realize that the anatomy looks abnormal and you have slight doubt how you should proceed on that. You dial in your teacher, the teacher joins on his mobile phone, he looks at the surgery video and he is making marks on that video which are visible on your screen. His hand is visible on your screen and he suggests that you go through a certain plane. You start dissecting based on the discussion with your teacher and go ahead and soon enough you realize that you are on the right path. The surgery completes uneventfully and surgical outcomes are fantastic. Practitioners and innovators have strived to make surgery safe, bring consistency and improve the clinical outcomes. Technology cannot replace surgeons. In fact, these technologies are going to complement the surgeons. So there is no need to be afraid of these technologies. In my today's presentation, I'll be talking about a few technologies which I feel are very promising from future of surgery point of view. The first surgery technology I'll talk about is robotic surgery. Robotic surgery has been in existence for last 20 years. In fact, just last month or early this month, we completed 20 years of first transatlantic telesurgery. So robotics is basically an interface between computer science and engineering. So there is a lot of computer science involved and there is a lot of engineering involved. So what advantages do robotics give to us? One, you get articulated instruments. So you can have instruments which can be as good as your hands, but in a laparoscopic surgery with 7 degrees of freedom. You also get motion scaling and motion filtering. So for example, the tremors of your hand will get filtered. If you would like to have very fine motion, you can change the scaling factor. So you get these advantages. You also have 3D vision, which is of course available without robotic surgery as well, but in robotic surgery, that's a default option. So all these advantages of robotic surgery will give you a certain benefits. So one benefit is there is a precision involved. So precision is because of all these factors that I talked about. The other advantage of robotic surgery is the surgeon ergonomics are better. So what happens is you are sitting comfortably during surgery. Your hand movements are not awkward. There is not so much force on your hands. So that gives you better ergonomics and the pain after surgery is much lesser compared to a regular laparoscopic surgery. Also, if you look at the learning curve compared to surgeon moving from open surgery to laparoscopic surgery and open surgery to robotic surgery, the learning curve for open surgery to robotic surgery is much better. There are a couple of disadvantages with robotic surgery. One is that there is no haptic feedback. So if you are grasping the tissue, you are not sure how strongly you are grasping it. Number two, of course, is the cost, the initial cost and the cost of the instruments, which are typically disposable instruments. Robotic surgery is also useful in certain orthopedic surgeries, for example, total knee replacement or total hip replacement. The advantage that robots give you in those surgeries is the precision. In fact, in those surgeries, robotic system is involved, including in planning of surgery. So you know precisely how much bone you need to cut. And while you are cutting the bone, the robots give you feedback as to whether you are cutting it sufficient enough and not too much to you. It also helps you in placing the implant in the most precise manner. So these are the advantages of robotic surgery. The next technology I would like to talk about is augmented reality. Augmented reality is nothing but overlay of computer generated image in a physical world. So it could be an image overlaid onto the monitor that you have during laparoscopic surgery, or it could also be an image overlay during an open surgery. For example, you could be wearing a smart glass and you are able to see information on top of the physical world that you have, which is the surgery site. In my previous example, when I talked about the surgeon hand showing you the precise plane that you need to follow during surgery, was an example of augmented reality. Augmented reality, if it is powered by other technologies and higher level of computation and algorithms, you can achieve much more with augmented reality. For example, organ identification or landmark identification information could be overlaid in your laparoscopic monitor as you are seeing the surgery site through laparoscopic camera. Another example could be tumor identification, which the surgeon can see using smart glasses while doing an open surgery. The next technology I would like to talk about is virtual reality. Imagine you are watching a cricket match in Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. As against, you could be watching the same match at your home on your TV. When you are at home, you are very aware of your home environment. So you are not completely transported into the environment of the stadium. While you are at the stadium, you are completely immersed in that experience. If you wish to not look at the pitch, but somewhere else, you can look at it. If you look at your surrounding, you can get the complete feel of the match. This is the reality that you are completely immersed into when you're watching a cricket match in a stadium. If you would like to get similar feel in an environment at your home or at your office, there are technologies available which could at least give you close to that experience. For example, Crescendo is having this exhibition, and if you could use VR glasses, you could get completely immersive experience as if you are in front of a stall in that exhibition. So what does VR achieve? It achieves two things. One, you get that completely immersive experience, so your ability to learn is much better because you are aware of everything that's happening around you. And number two, your retention is much better because your learning has been in a completely immersed environment. VR also achieves two more things. The physical world has two limitations. There is a limitation of space and there is a limitation of time. For example, an excellent surgery teacher can accommodate probably 10 surgeons in his operation theatre as a student. Now, if the same surgeon offers learning through VR, there could be thousands of surgeons could be attending that surgery remotely and still get close to real experience inside the operation theatre. It also removes limitation of time. If you want, you can attend the same surgery 5 days down the line as well, because that recording is available. When you are using VR headgears, you can attend the same surgery 5 days down the line. So VR has immense potential in the space of learning and education, particularly for activity like surgery. An interesting technology available to you right now is 3D printing. Now, if you look at a typical manufacturing, what happens is it's typically subtractive manufacturing. So what do? You take metal or any other material and you start removing parts of it, either through machining or any other way, and you get finally the desired output from it as a part that you need. Now, 3D printing, which is also called as additive manufacturing, has a very interesting way of doing things. So what does it do? It keeps on putting layers on top of each other, and then finally the part is ready. So what are the advantages of 3D printing? One, the initial cost is very, very less. I mean, all you need is a 3D model in your computer, and then you can just give it to a 3D printer and it will print you in with the material that you want. Now, because of this inherent advantage of initial low cost against a typical manufacturing, for example, if you go for molds, they could cost you upwards of lakhs of rupees. So there are some, I would like to talk about three specific applications of 3D printing. One is you could create 3D models of, for example, jaw in the case of maxillofacial orthodontic surgeries. And what it helps you is it helps you plan surgeries better. You could also use these models to explain how the surgery is going to happen to the patients or their bystanders. The second advantage is that you could come out with your custom implants for surgery. Now what happens is, if you take off-the-shelf implants and if you need anything between the size 6 and size 7, then you will end up with some compromises. But with customized implants, which are manufactured per patient at a low cost because there are no initial costs, is a good solution because then you are not compromising on size of the implant. A third one, which is not so common these days, but it may come, is that a manufacturer, if he needs to send a part to a dealer to provide service to you, he might send the design itself and the dealer will print it locally and will be able to provide you better service. So 3D printing has very interesting applications, and as we move forward, the cost of manufacturing a 3D printed part is going to come down because there is a lot of development happening in that field. At the same time, the accuracy will improve, and I expect that more and more materials will get added. So I think that's an interesting technology to watch out for. One of the first applications of AI in surgery I expect is landmark identification, organ identification, and perfusion analysis. So these images will be overlaid on the images that you see on the laparoscopic monitor. And if you combine all these technologies together, then the possibilities are immense. For example, you could mark a starting point of suturing, end point of the suturing, and the path that suturing needs to take, and give it to a robot which is powered by AI. Then the robot will do suturing for that entire path on its own. One of the interesting use case I think can happen is, for example, you are in a medical college, your department of surgery has certain method of doing a particular surgery. So there are a certain number of steps that need to be followed. There are some do's and there are some don'ts. You can actually train your AI engine to check a particular video for compliance against this checklist. So all the surgeries that happen in your department, the AI engine will analyze the entire surgery video and will give you a report saying these parts were done very well. However, this particular step was missed during surgery. And not only that, it will even highlight those specific parts of the surgery. So you as an HOD don't have to look at the entire surgery video. You just have to look at that specific part in the surgery, and you can give that very constructive feedback to the surgeon as part of your team. Of course, for us to achieve these kind of scenarios, there has to be tremendous work in terms of technology leapfrogging, and it will be few years down the line when we will be able to see similar scenarios. On that very futuristic example, I would like to conclude this talk. I would like to thank Crescendo for this opportunity, and I look forward to a lot of interaction with the audience, my fellow practitioners on this topic. And one final point, we are coming out with a book in December end. The name of the book is Third Dimension of Surgery. And in this book, we'll be talking about all the technologies related to surgery. So I do recommend that you read this book when this gets published. So thank you very much, and I look forward to interaction with all of you now.